The other half of a keigo is a humble expression. While a speaker, a writer, trying to pay a respect, the person receiving the respect not necessarily always the one to take an action, but may be related to the action or to receive the result. For such a case, a humble expression will be used. As briefly mentioned before, it is to carry out the same respect by lowering or humbling the person who is in the action. Again, here is a list of a group of words related to the most basic actions. In another word, we now have a complete list to indicate that basic actions have three different words, one for honorific, one for humble, and the last is in a neutral status. Similarly, those humble verbs could be used alone to carry out a simple concept, such as to say, or some of them often used in a manner similar to a helper verb to assist another verb. In these examples, mailasu with the matsu to wait, tatematsuru with the haisu to pray, to respect the person being waited or the Buddha which receives a prayer. Becoming to know the basic of honorific and humble expressions, we have to see some complicated situation. In the real life, a sentence would never always limit to two persons, the speaker and the listener, but rather much more may be involved in a short statement. The example seen here is a phrase used by the husband toward his wife. The third person, to his place where the husband asked the wife to go immediately, was the emperor. Thus, we see a humble expression, mairu, which was applied to the wife as her action was received by the emperor, and then an honorific expression, tamau, which applied to the wife's action from the husband's point of view. Here is a similar case. This phrase was used by a lady towards a gentleman who is a servant to the emperor. Thus, mosu, to say, is a man's action toward the emperor, while tamau indicates a respect from the lady to the gentleman she is talking to. The next example, under the same context, presents a much complicated situation. Here, besides the speaker, who is a storyteller, and the listener, three more people were in the story. They are the priestly sovereign, who is receiving the answer, a nun who is replying to a question, and the lady Kenlei Monging, whose action was described by the nun. Yiru, si, tamau, a double honorific expression, was used by the nun toward the lady. Sabulau, a polite style of a speech, indicates the nun's attitude facing her listener, and then mosu was used as a humble expression from the nun towards the priestly sovereign. There is one more minor note on keigo in classical. As a part of a speech by a person in extreme high position, it may happen that the person used the keigo to indicate him, herself. Such as the example seen here. Certainly, this is considered against a common rule. This concluded a very brief discussion on keigo in classical Japanese. Here's a drill for a humble expression. Please give it a try.